So what is acceptance? When we say the term acceptance, it really implies that we're trying to be okay with something that doesn't feel okay. And we're trying to be accepting of it. And often when we use this term in our spiritual search, it's often about things that we feel almost built into who we are. But things that are built into who we are are learned behaviors. They're not things that we were born with. So one of the first things is to recognize that things that we're trying to accept about ourselves are things that we've picked up along the way, normally in childhood and innocently. There's no blame here, there's no shame here. There's just the recognition, yes, along the way I was conditioned in a way that I am no longer comfortable with, and I'm trying to be accepting of that fact. So there's a couple of things to recognize here. One is being able to notice things that we're not comfortable with about ourselves is a huge advantage. There are a lot of people that go through life that never recognize their shortcomings. So recognition is actually the first step. So we could, rather than regretting what we see, we can actually be grateful for seeing it all. The second thing about acceptance is that it doesn't mean that we have to like what we see. Sometimes you've read self-help books about, loving yourself. Yeah, that's fine, I suppose. But what we're talking about here is particular modes of behavior, particular conditioning, and we don't have to like it. And in fact, the reason that it's problematic in the first place may be that we don't like it. And that's fine. It's fine to recognize what is working and what's not working. But rather than labeling it in dualistic terms like good and bad, right and wrong, we can just see it's not a skillful behavior. It sort of takes the charge out of it. It's not a behavior that works well for what we want to be, how we want to relate to others, how we want to be in the world. And just the simple recognition of that behavior that may have been created in our childhood as a reaction, as a safety mechanism somehow, that may have been necessary, or we thought it was necessary at that time, maybe just doesn't work that well anymore. So again, it's not having to like it, it's not having to love it. That's not really what acceptance means. Acceptance is really the willingness to look at it. The willingness to allow it to be, the willingness to allow it to arise in our consciousness and see the light of day. And that's really the transformative effect of consciousness. Allowing things to be seen clearly, without judgment, without guilt, without shame. That's really what acceptance is to allow things about ourselves or events in our lives to arise into consciousness without judgment, without blame, without making it right or wrong, allowing it to be and seeing it clearly for what it is. And this simple allowing of these types of behaviors that no longer serve what we want, that simple awareness, consciousness is transformative. We don't have to try to make these behaviors go away. We just have to allow them to be and be seen by our own consciousness. And that is the transformative quality of allowance. So I hope you enjoyed the talk this morning, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you.